Okay, so let's think about launching a global airline, say, back in 1985. What's the playbook tell you? You need a huge home market, right? Something protected to absorb those early losses.
Yeah, absolutely. Decades of air traffic rights built up, probably some friendly government help keeping things afloat. That's the standard model.
Exactly. Now imagine this scenario instead. A small city-state, middle of the desert, not really swimming in oil money yet, 0 domestic routes, like none.
Okay.
And they decide, right, we're building a world-class global airline with just, get this, $10 million in startup cash.
Right. It sounds less like a business plan and more like a bit of a joke, doesn't it?
It really does. But of course, that's exactly what we're talking about today, the incredible launch of Emirates.
Yeah, and their story, it's not just about success. It's arguably one of the most disruptive, strategically defiant masterclasses in modern aviation. We're talking an airline that started with literally 2 leased planes.
2 planes.
And now a global powerhouse flying to, over 150 cities? It's staggering.
It really is.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's our mission for this deep dive. We need to figure out this central paradox. How on earth did Dubai, which was just a geographic stopover point,
A place the big legacy carriers were, frankly, ignoring.
right, how did they turn that into the undisputed global crossroads for aviation?
Right.
We need to dig into the advantages they built, the challenges they smashed through, and especially that whole ongoing debate about subsidies.
Yeah, the subsidy question always comes up, but I think we have to focus on 3 key things. Their strategy, the infrastructure they built alongside the airline, and just this relentless, almost revolutionary commitment to scale, and importantly, product quality.
They didn't just play the game, did they?
No, they didn't just follow the rules. They basically tore up the rule book and wrote their own. They tailored everything to overcome the limitations of where they started, that lack of a domestic market. They didn't see it as a weakness.
They saw it as, what, an opportunity?
Exactly, a strategic asset in a way.
Okay, let's set the scene. 1985. Dubai's at this crucial point, isn't it?
Absolutely. The leadership knew the oil wouldn't last forever. Diversification wasn't just a nice idea, it was critical.
And the trigger for the airline itself is pretty specific, right? Gulf Air?
Yeah, Gulf Air, the big regional player back then, started scaling back its flights to Dubai. That created this vacuum.
A threat, you'd think.
Well, Dubai's leaders saw it differently. They saw an opportunity, a chance to build something vital for the city's future economy, something they controlled.
So the government steps in through the Investment Corporation of Dubai, the ICD, and they put up that initial $10 million.
$10 million, which, when you think about the billions other state-owned airlines got over the years in Europe or Asia, it's tiny, really modest.
But the key wasn't just the amount, was it? It was the terms.
That's fundamental. The directive baked in from the start was you operate independently and you have to be profitable, like now.
From day one. No safety net.
Pretty much. No guarantee of ongoing government subsidies. If Emirates failed, it was a massive problem for Dubai's whole diversification plan. The stakes were incredibly high.
Wow, okay. That's immense pressure for any startup, let alone an airline. It must have forced incredibly fast execution.
Lightning fast. You had Sheikh Ahmed bin Saeed Al Maktoum as chairman, providing that royal backing and vision. But the operational grit, the person making it happen day to day, was Maurice Flanagan.
The British Airways veteran.
Exactly, highly respected guy. And his mandate from Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum was famously blunt. Just 3 things. Start an airline, make it world class, and do it fast.
Simple, but terrifying.
Absolutely. And fast meant they couldn't possibly build everything themselves right away. They needed shortcuts.
Which led them to Pakistan.
Yeah, fascinating partnership, wasn't it? With Pakistan International Airlines, PIA, they provided absolutely crucial support. Technical know-how, operational practices.
Training too, I read.
Free training for the first cabin crew down in Karachi. And critically, the first 2 planes were wet leased from PIA. A Boeing 737 and an Airbus A300.
Wet leased, meaning planes, crew, maintenance, the whole package.
Exactly. 0 upfront costs for the jets, instant access to trained people, established procedures. It was a massive accelerator. Cut months, maybe years, off the startup time.
Okay, so they launch October 25th, 1985. Dubai to Karachi, then Mumbai straight after.
And notice the destinations. Not London or Paris. Karachi. Mumbai. immediately targeting those high-traffic, maybe underserved routes connecting the Indian subcontinent to the Middle East.
Bypassing the old European hubs?
Precisely. This was never about flying people around Dubai. There was no market for that. It was purely about global transit, right from the first flight.
And the growth was just explosive after that.
Almost instant validation of the strategy. By 87, just 2 years in, they'd added Colombo, Dhaka, Amman, Cairo, Frankfurt, London Gatwick, Singapore, Hong Kong.
Wow.
They were hitting like 30% annual growth in those early years, that tiny $10 million seed fund. It quickly became a self-funding, profitable operation.
And you mentioned dividends earlier.
Yeah, that's a key point against the constant subsidy claims. To date, the Dubai government has received back over AED 14.6 billion in dividends. It's a massive return on that initial 10 million. It really pushes back against the idea this was just a state-funded vanity project draining cash.
Okay, but let's push back a bit ourselves. That zero domestic baggage thing.
Yeah.
Sure, it meant focus, but wasn't it also a huge vulnerability?
How so?
Well, legacy carriers, they use their domestic networks, right? Unprofitable little regional routes get cross-subsidized by the big money-making long-haul flights. If something hits long-haul, like a war or a recession...
They have a cushion.
Exactly. Emirates had no cushion. If transit traffic dried up, they were completely exposed, weren't they?
That's a really sharp observation. And yes, it was a massive risk, no question. But look at the flip side. That risk forced a kind of brutal efficiency that legacy carriers, often tangled in domestic politics and obligations, could never match.
Because every route had to stand on its own.
Every single route had to make money. They couldn't afford to fly empty planes just to keep some regional politician happy. Their entire focus was lasered onto that lucrative long-haul transit market. It made them incredibly agile, incredibly focused compared to rivals serving, mandated but unprofitable local routes.
And then came the first Gulf War in 1990-91. That must have been a massive test of that model.
Huge test. Most international airlines pulled out of the region. Too risky. Understandable.
What, Emirates?
Emirates made a calculated gamble. They kept flying, obviously with extreme caution, risk mitigation, but they kept the routes open.
What was the impact of that decision?
Incalculable in terms of trust. By staying when others left, they showed reliability, courage even, in a crisis. It cemented their reputation, particularly with Asian business travelers, as the dependable airline for the Middle East. When the war ended, that paid off enormously in market share and long-term profile. It was a paradoxical boost, really.
Okay, so they survived the risky launch, proved they could fly profitably, but that early success only works if the infrastructure keeps pace. Which brings us to the Dubai hub. Absolutely
Critical. The airline and the airport grew hand in glove. You can't separate Emirates' success from Dubai's physical location, that geographic sweet spot.
Within, an 8-hour flight of 2/3 of the world's population?
Something like that. It's an incredible natural advantage, but they had to engineer it into a hub. The goal wasn't just to build an airline, it was to build, essentially, the world's transit lounge in Dubai.
Turning a refueling stop into a destination, or at least a seamless connection point.
Exactly. If you don't have much local traffic, you have to maximize transfer traffic. That means making the connection process incredibly efficient.
And that happens at Dubai International, DXB. Specifically Terminal 3.
Emirates Terminal 3. It's not just a terminal, it's basically an A380 palace built exclusively for them. 1.7 million square feet designed around their specific operational needs, handling massive planes and huge waves of connecting passengers.
Let's talk about those waves. You mentioned the bank system. For listeners interested in logistics, this sounds fascinating. How does it work making transfers smooth when 70% of your passengers are just passing through?
Yeah, over 70% transit. The banked system is pure operational engineering. Think of it like waves crashing on a beach. They have 4 main arrival waves and 4 main departure waves each day.
Timed precisely.
Meticulously. So a huge morning wave might bring in flights from Australia, Southeast Asia. Those passengers flood the terminal. But within maybe 90 minutes, sometimes less,
they're boarding flights out
to Europe, Africa, the Americas. Then the afternoon wave reverses the flow. Europe, Africa arriving, connecting onwards to Asia, Australia. The entire airport operation, ground crews, baggage systems, gates, it's all choreographed to minimize connection times. Aiming for under 90 minutes for international to international transfers is the goal.
That requires insane precision. Military precision almost.
It really does. And that relentless efficiency combined with Dubai's massive decades-long investment in airport infrastructure. That's why DXB overtook Heathrow back in 2014.
As the world's busiest international airport.
Correct. handling over 90 million passengers a year before the pandemic. Terminal 3 alone sees thousands of Emirates flights weekly. The scale is just immense.
And it's not just the concrete and gates, is it? It's the policies, too.
Good point. The infrastructure strategy includes making movement easy, automated immigration, biometric boarding trials, facial recognition from check-in to the gate, and really importantly, those relaxed visa policies.
It's a short-term transit visas.
Yeah, waiving visas for 24, 48, 96 hours for many nationalities. That's not just convenient, it's a calculated move to encourage stopovers, get people out of the airport, spending money in Dubai, further diversifying the city's economy. It's all interconnected.
Which brings us right back to that sticky issue. Open skies versus subsidies. Emirates insists no cash subsidies, and the dividends seem to back that up.
Largely, yeah.
But competitors, Delta, Air France, Lufthansa, they constantly point to that state-funded, custom-built mega hub T3 as a massive unfair advantage. How do we reconcile that? Is that a subsidy?
It's complex. It's not a direct cash handout for operations, true. But is it a state advantage? Absolutely. The core benefit lies in that integrated state planning.
Unlike legacy carriers.
Right. Legacy carriers have to fight for gate space, lobby airports for improvements, deal with multiple stakeholders. Emirates effectively had a bespoke factory built for them by the state, likely on very favorable terms, with guaranteed exclusivity and room to grow.
Lowering their risk and capital costs.
Dramatically. They could scale up knowing the infrastructure would be there, designed specifically for their wide-body fleet and banked hub model. It wasn't a cash subsidy in the traditional sense, but it was a massive structural advantage. So the comparison I often use is, Delta feeds its Atlanta hub with a web of domestic flights. Emirates feeds its Dubai hub with the entire world. And the state built them the perfect custom machine to do it. That's the advantage competitors point to, and, well, it's hard to argue it didn't make a difference.
Okay, so you've got this massive hub built entirely around transit. That dictates a very specific kind of fleet strategy, doesn't it?
Completely. It forces you towards large aircraft. Since about 1995, Emirates has stuck rigidly to an all-wide-body philosophy. No narrow-body planes like 737s or A320s in their main fleet.
They just refuse to operate them.
They see them as fundamentally wrong for their core mission. Look at their fleet now, roughly 260 aircraft. It's dominated by, 116 A380s and about 133 Boeing 777s. That commitment is key.
Why? What's the strategic payoff of only flying big jets?
Two main things: scale and standardization. It lets them move huge numbers of people efficiently, and it drastically simplifies their operations. That's crucial for managing costs on those ultra-long routes they specialize in.
Let's break down the efficiency part. How does using only wide bodies lower the cost per seat?
Okay, first, the basic physics. Wide bodies, especially the newer twin-engine ones like the 777, are just more fuel-efficient per passenger on very long flights. Dubai to LA, Dubai to Sydney. You spread the fixed costs over more seats.
Makes sense. And the standardization?
This is maybe even more important. By focusing primarily on just two main families, the 777 and the A380, think about the savings. Pilot training is simpler. You need fewer types of spare parts and inventory. Ground handling equipment is standardized. Maintenance procedures are streamlined, and they do most maintenance in-house, which is another cost control.
Less complexity equals lower costs.
Dramatically lower across the entire global network. It's a huge operational advantage.
Right, now we have to talk about the elephant in the room, or rather, the whale in the sky, the A380. This is where Emirates' strategy gets really counterintuitive, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. The A380 paradox.
Yeah.
While almost every other major airline, Lufthansa, Air France, Qantas, eventually started grounding or retiring their super jumbos because, let's face it, four engines drink a lot of fuel.
Emirates doubled down. They didn't just fly them. They became the customer. They basically kept the production line open for years.
They ordered something like 150 of them in total. It looked like madness to much of the industry. Why bet the farm on this giant when everyone else was rushing towards efficient twin jets like the 787 and A350?
So why did they? What was the calculation?
Two core reasons, perfectly aligned with their strategy. First, the A380 was and is the ultimate marketing tool and premium product differentiator. Those onboard showers, the lounge bar, it created this image of luxury and space that screamed Emirates. It made the transfer experience special.
The wow factor.
Exactly. But second, and probably more important for the bean counters, was slot efficiency.
Ah, right. Airport slots. Explain that.
Think about the world's busiest, most desirable airports. Heathrow, JFK, Sydney, Hong Kong. Landing and takeoff slots are incredibly limited and valuable. An airline might only get 1 or 2 slots per day on a key route.
So you want to maximize the passengers you move with each slot.
Precisely. If you fly a smaller plane, maybe you move 300 people. With an A380, configured the way Emirates does, you're moving 500, maybe even 600 passengers per flight. It maximizes the revenue potential of that single precious slot. The A380 wasn't just about luxury, it was a competitive weapon to absolutely dominate capacity on high-demand, slot-constrained routes.
A massive hammer, as you put it earlier. But even that hammer has a shelf life. The A380s won't fly forever. They're looking at retirement in the 2030s.
That's the timeline, yes. Which means Emirates has had to plan for the post-A380 era for quite some time. They're managing that transition.
And that's where the new orders come in.
Exactly. Look at their order book. It's massive, and it's all about the next generation of highly efficient twin jets. They've got, I think, 150 Boeing 777X jets on order, the successor to their 777 workhorse. Around 65 Airbus A350-900s, including the ULR, the ultra-long-range version.
And those thinner, super long routes?
Like Dubai to Adelaide, yeah.
Yeah.
Places the A380 might be too big for, plus they've ordered Boeing 787 Dreamliners as well. They are actively shifting the fleet towards efficiency.
But they're not just waiting for the new planes. They're spending big on the current fleet, too.
Yeah, that's crucial. They're in the middle of this huge $2 billion retrofit program, upgrading, 67 A380s and 53 of the older 777.
What are they doing in the refit?
The big thing is rolling out their new premium economy cabin across more of the fleet, plus refreshing the business and first class cabins, updating the interiors. It's about keeping the product competitive right up until retirement and bridging the gap to the new generation. Constant investment, it's their hallmark.
So you've got the hub, you've got the giant planes optimized for transit, but your whole model depends on convincing people not to fly direct or to choose your hub over Qatar's or Istanbul's. Service has to be more than just okay, doesn't it?
It has to be a weapon, a core part of the value proposition. And Emirates uses service, particularly the perception of luxury, to differentiate themselves massively in that crowded transfer market.
Starting at the very front of the plane, first class is legendary.
It really is. Those private suites with the closing doors, the zero-gravity seats they co-developed with Mercedes-Benz, it's pure opulence.
And the A380 specials, the onboard shower spas, 2 of them.
Yeah, plus personal minibars, huge screens, Dom Perignon champagne, caviar. It's designed to capture that ultra-high-yield traveler, the corporate CEO, the celebrity. It sets the tone for the whole brand.
But hang on, isn't there a risk there? Pouring money into showers and caviar for a tiny number of first-class passengers, doesn't that take away from the experience for the hundreds of people sitting in economy? The ones actually making the hub model work through sheer volume?
That's the clever part. It's a strategic calculation. Those super profitable first and business class seats effectively subsidize a better experience further back. Emirates' real genius isn't just the top-end luxury, it's elevating the entire experience.
So business class isn't just a slightly bigger seat.
Not at all. Proper lie-flat beds, often with direct aisle access, massage functions, big screens. And on the A380, that iconic onboard lounge bar for business and first passengers, it turns a long transit into, potentially a social event. It's a destination in itself.
And now they're adding premium economy through these refits, filling that gap.
Exactly. It's a distinct cabin, not just economy with extra legroom. Comfortable Recaro seats, really generous pitch, like 48 of those bigger screens, upgraded food and drink service. It hits that sweet spot for travelers wanting more comfort without the full business class price tag.
But crucially, they don't seem to have stripped down the basic economy experience like so many others have.
That's key. They've largely resisted the race to the bottom in economy. You still get decent seat pitch, usually 31 to 34 inches, adjustable headrests, complimentary multi-course meals even on shorter long-haul legs, good selection of halal options reflecting their hub location, amenity kits on long flights.
Things many legacy carriers now charge extra for.
Precisely. While others nickel and dime, Emirates maintains a consistent, relatively high standard in economy. It builds loyalty and justifies choosing that one-stop journey.
And underpinning the whole onboard experience, regardless of cabin, is the entertainment system, ICE.
Yeah, ICE information, communication, entertainment, it's consistently rated as industry-leading. The sheer volume of content is staggering. Over 6,500 channels, movies, TV shows, music, games,
Live CV too on many flights.
live sports, news, Spotify integration, pretty decent high-speed Wi-Fi available. It's comprehensive.
What's the secret there? Just buying more content.
It's not just the quantity, it's the freshness.
Yeah.
Here's a critical detail. They update the ICE system monthly. New movies, new shows every single month. Many rivals might only refresh content every 3 or even 6 months. On a 14-hour flight, having genuinely new stuff to watch makes a huge difference. It shows that continuous investment again.
The logistics of delivering this consistent high-level service globally must be mind-boggling. You mentioned 25,000 cabin crew earlier. How do you train them all to that standard?
With massive investment. They have over 69,000 staff in total, recruited from literally over 160 countries. That diverse crew is part of the brand image too. For the cabin crew, they built a dedicated multi-million-dollar training facility in Dubai, the Emirates Aviation College, sometimes called their Luxury Academy.
Training them to Michelin star standards, I read somewhere.
That's the aspiration they talk about. It's about instilling a service culture, not just teaching procedures. It covers everything from safety to service etiquette, dealing with diverse passengers, presenting the food.
Speaking of food, 55 million meals a year, all prepared in Dubai.
The scale of the catering operation is incredible. Emirates Flight Catering is one of the world's largest airline catering facilities. Chefs trained in high-end restaurants design the menus. They even invest in things like vertical farms in Dubai to try and ensure consistent quality of fresh produce, regardless of where the ingredients might normally be sourced. It's end-to-end control over the product.
Okay, we've talked a lot about the passenger experience, the planes, the service, the hub. But there's this other massive part of the operation, often unseen, that's crucial to Emirates' success, isn't there?
Absolutely. There are two invisible engines, really. Emirates Sky Cargo and their digital infrastructure.
Let's start with Sky Cargo. It launched right alongside the passenger airline back in '85.
Yeah, it wasn't an afterthought. And now it's huge. Consistently ranked as one of the top cargo carriers globally, often number 2 in the world by freight ton kilometers, it's a massive revenue stream.
How does it work? Do they have a lot of dedicated cargo planes?
They do have a dedicated freighter fleet, about 12 Boeing 7777 freighters, including some brand new ones. But the real financial magic comes from utilizing the belly hold capacity of their massive passenger fleet.
Ah, the space underneath the passenger deck.
Exactly. An Airbus A380, even full of passengers and their luggage, can still carry up to 50 tons of cargo in its belly. 777 carries a huge amount too.
So every single passenger flight is also a significant cargo flight.
Pretty much. That passenger jet becomes a double profit center. You've got passenger revenue upstairs and high-yield cargo revenue downstairs. Things like pharmaceuticals, electronics, perishables, luxury goods.
Which must help stabilize things financially.
Hugely. Cargo demand is often less volatile than passenger demand. That reliable cargo income stream helps financially underpin the expensive, high-quality passenger service, especially in premium cabins. It smooths out the bumps.
We saw that during the pandemic, didn't we?
Absolutely critical during COVID. When passenger flights were grounded, Sky Cargo kept flying. They transported over 1 billion doses of vaccines globally. They even used preeters, temporarily converting passenger planes by removing seats to carry cargo in the main cabin. It kept vital supply chains open and generated crucial revenue when passenger income vanished.
And they're pretty high-tech in cargo, too,
Yeah.
using blockchain.
Yeah, for tracking high-value shipments like pharmaceuticals, providing secure, transparent tracking. They're not just moving boxes. They're providing sophisticated logistics solutions. They've rolled out digital tools like an online quoting platform, eQuote, letting freight forwarders get instant quotes 24/7, integrating with payment systems like PayCargo. Speed and reliability are everything in cargo.
That tech focus obviously applies to the passenger side, too, making that giant hub actually function.
It has to. You can't move 90 million people a year through one airport without world-class digital operations. It's about making the whole process seamless.
We mentioned the biometric boarding trials.
Right, using facial recognition to speed up checks from curb to gate, minimizing queues, reducing friction, and behind the scenes, they're using AI quite heavily.
How so?
Well, their AI-powered customer service systems, often through the app or website chatbots, apparently handle something like 80% of routine customer queries, flight status, baggage allowance, basic booking changes.
Freeing up human agents for the tricky stuff.
Exactly. For complex rebookings, dealing with disruptions, high-value customer issues. And speaking of disruptions,
They use predictive tech.
sophisticated algorithms are constantly crunching data weather patterns, air traffic control information, aircraft maintenance schedules, crew rosters. They predict potential delays before they happen.
And automatically fix them.
They can initiate automatic rebooking for connecting passengers, reroute baggage onto new flights, alert ground crews, often before passengers or even many staff are aware there's a potential issue. It's about proactive disruption management at massive scale.
So it's this blend, again, high-tech efficiency in the background, enabling that high-touch luxury service experience up front.
That's the Emirates signature, isn't it? Integrating the physical infrastructure, the hub, the wide-body planes with advanced logistics, both cargo and passenger, sophisticated digital tools, and that relentless focus on service quality. It all has to work together.
Which brings us back full circle to what you called the Emirates paradox. This huge, successful airline, dominant globally, yet operating from a small desert state with no real home market. It still feels improbable.
It does. It relies almost entirely on persuading millions of people to make a stop in Dubai, connecting between, say, Europe and Australia or Africa and Asia, and doing it profitably.
And mostly they have been profitable.
Yeah.
Year after year, except for maybe one really bad year, like during the peak of COVID, paying those huge dividends back to the government. We mentioned AED, 22.7 billion net income recently reported.
Phenomenal numbers.
Yet that subsidy debate just refuses to go away. Emirates insists it's clean, but rivals keep pointing fingers.
And we need to be nuanced here. The consistent profitability and dividend payments strongly argue against ongoing operational cash subsidies. They seem to run like a commercial entity. But the rivals focus on those structural or indirect state advantages. Things like potentially lower borrowing costs because of the implicit government backing, the sovereign wealth connection, and most significantly, as we discussed, the integrated airport development.
The state building their perfect factory.
Exactly. That synergy between the state-owned airline and the state-funded airport infrastructure designed in lockstep, that's an advantage private airlines competing for resources and facing different risk profiles just don't have. It's not a direct subsidy, perhaps, but it's definitely a strategic benefit derived from state ownership and planning.
And the other paradox we touched on, the A380. They built their brand around it, kept it flying long after others gave up, prioritizing that awe factor. But now they are phasing it out, moving towards those efficient twins like the A350 and 777X.
Yeah, the retirement confirms the long-term strategic shift towards efficiency, which the rest of the industry already made. But their unique, decade-long devotion to the A380 really highlights that willingness to invest heavily in the passenger experience and making a statement, even when pure efficiency metrics pointed elsewhere. It was a calculated brand investment.
How does Emirates stack up against its main regional competitors? The other two big Middle East carriers, the ME3, Qatar Airways, and Etihad.
Right, you have to see them in that context. They all share some traits. Premium service focus, hubs in the Gulf operating under that same spotlight regarding alleged state aid. But their strategies have differed quite significantly.
Emirates, as we've established, is all about scale and independence.
Massive scale, maximum capacity through the Dubai hub. And critically, independence, they're not part of any major global airline alliance like Star Alliance, Oneworld, or SkyTeam. They prefer bilateral code shares like with United or Qantas historically, and using their sister airline Fly Dubai for regional feed, giving them flexibility without alliance constraints.
Okay, what about Qatar Airways?
Qatar's emphasis is perhaps more on hospitality and network. They position Doha as a premium gateway, heavily promoting Qatari hospitality. Crucially, they are a member of the One World Alliance, leveraging partners like British Airways, American Airlines, Cathay Pacific for global reach.
And their fleet is different too.
Yeah, more mixed. They operate both wide-body and narrow-body jets, giving them flexibility to serve thinner routes or increase frequency. And they're famous for their business-class product, the Q Suite, often considered best-in-class for privacy and customization.
And the third one, Etihad, based in Abu Dhabi.
Etihad's journey has been different. They initially aimed for a boutique luxury positioning. Think the Residence, that incredible 3-room private suite on their A380s. Ultra premium.
But they also had that complex alliance strategy.
Yeah, they tried building their own alliance through equity stakes in other airlines. Air Berlin, Alitalia, Jet Airways, called Etihad Partners. It was, well, largely unsuccessful and led to huge financial losses.
So they're smaller now.
They've restructured significantly, scaled back the network, refocused, still a premium carrier, but operating on a much smaller scale than Emirates or even Qatar now.
So pulling it all together, Emirates' success formula seems to be, what? Avoid the old legacy problems, invest relentlessly in the right things, and just have this single-minded focus.
Pretty much. Avoid the baggage of domestic routes and legacy structures. Relentless, targeted investment in infrastructure, wide-body aircraft, cargo, technology, and service, and that unwavering focus. Use Dubai's geography and build the capacity to make it the world's primary transit point. They operate with the scale advantages of a state entity, but the commercial discipline, mostly, of a private airline.
And they somehow kept investing in that awe factor, making flying feel a bit special, even while others were cutting back.
That's definitely part of the brand magic. But the big question, as you said, is the transition away from the A380. Can they maintain that premium perception and command those yields with more standard aircraft like the 777X and A350, however nice they are?
Especially as competition intensifies and cost pressures never go away. That efficient, smaller twin model is what everyone else is betting on. Successfully navigating that shift will define their next decade, won't it?
It's the huge strategic challenge ahead, the next chapter in the Empire story.
It really is a fascinating story of strategic ambition and execution. So we leave you, our listeners, with this thought to mull over. When you look at everything Emirates did, what single element do you think was the most crucial for building this airline empire? Was it the laser focus on the wide-body fleet?
Or maybe the massive, often hidden power of sky cargo effectively subsidizing the passenger side?
Or was it simply that relentless, unparalleled commitment to service and product, making people actively choose to connect through Dubai? Which factor stands out most to you?
Something to think about. Until our next deep dive, keep looking up and keep questioning how things work.